Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel here. It's the Mac, and welcome back to another game here from Wargame Design Studios. It's the First World War Campaigns, Serbia 1914 there. Yeah, so part of the First World War series there they have on the website there. It's one of the games I picked up now during the Christmas sale, as I mentioned in my previous video, actually. So, yeah, man, First World War. A operation or a time frame that I'm not actually that familiar with as of World War II, for instance. And I did say that about the Renaissance as well, but wow, man, have I dived into that sucker. I've been saying that before about these great games from Wargame Design Studios. They sort of they're so well made and so well researched that you get intrigued and you start your own research, and it's sort of a lesson in history basically playing these games. If you really go in for it, if you really sit down and duke it out and do your research and read all the documentations and stuff, you will get so much more out of them. Because, let's face it, the visual experience of these games are not like the modern mass big companies, you know, the multi-million-dollar companies that are making these really high produced games. They have like 1,000 employees working on computer graphics and everything. Wargame Design Studios is a sort of smallish game company, so you know they can't really compete with that kind of caliber of graphics. And of course, this is the old John Tiller engine, so it's the legacy of John Tiller as well, but they've made some. I think they've done a great job with the visuals and the improvements of these games, and they're constantly working on them, and they are planning lots of future titles as well. So it's just going to be so great to follow the progress of the company and the games that are going to come out, because I think they have a lot in store, and they're showing so much love to some of these really old games. I mean, they're doing the best to try to keep them up to date, and you know, they're not easy accessible games for everybody. These games are for people that are interested in military history and strategy and tactics and stuff. So that's the backbone of these games. Anyway, Serbia 14, man. All right, so I haven't played that much this game. I did the getting started. I played that, and right off the bat, this game has actually a lot in common with the Panzer campaigns. It's just, I think it's the same scale. It's a 1 kilometer hexes, and the turn is 2 hours. The main difference is, of course, units involved. Warfare is not as advanced as it was in World War II. It's more, I mean, the kings of the battlefield in the World War I is the machine gun and artillery. And infantry is also, of course, very important, but the machine gun and artillery is what really is the game changer in the fights. The air war, it was important, yeah, mostly for the pilots duking it out in the skies above the grunts on the ground, basically. But they did have some tactical bombing. I mean, it was the roots of air warfare, so you know, they could fly those little propeller planes there and drop some bombs and stuff. So, I mean, they did have an impact. And of course also the first tanks saw its appearance during the First World War. There, those steel boxes that slowly rumbled through the mud and the decay and were sort of rolling coffins, but did induce fear in the enemy, of course. That was what they were largely all about. I think they weren't that tactical. They didn't move very fast, and okay, they were protected from small arms fire and stuff, but I mean, still, small cannons and stuff and hand grenades could just disable them so easily, and artillery, of course. So this game here, man, Serbia 14, so it deals with the Serbian ordeal, basically, that right at the start of the First World War there. So we all know that what happened there. The King Ferdinand was in Serbia, and he was assassinated, and many claim that was like the spark for the First World War to kick off and stuff. But I mean, there were some pretty bad things brewing already in Europe at the time. So I mean, the war was going to happen, I think, anyways, even though he was killed. And it was kind of a funny story how he got killed too. I read about that. I mean, he was driving there in an open-topped car with his and some officers. It was like a column of cars driving through the streets there, and the assassins were waiting for him there in the masses of people, and they threw this bomb, but they hit the wrong car, so they blew up a car with some officers in it, and King Ferdinand's he drove away really fast, and they hid somewhere in the town. And then he heard that those guys got killed and stuff, and he thought, oh, I better go and see them in the hospital and see how they're doing. So he drove back out of hiding, and I think the driver sort of took the wrong turn, and funny enough, they sort of drove past and stopped in front of one of the assassins that originally wanted to kill him. So and he pulled the gun and shot him in the head. So that's how he died. I mean, if he just had stayed in hiding, or if he would have just, escaped back to Hungary, Austria-Hungary, he would probably survive, and that would not have triggered the war. But fate, man, has a funny way of showing things. Yeah, right. So it triggered there, and I mean, there was lots of things going on in Europe at the time, and Germany was allied with the Austro-Hungarian Empire, basically, and so there's a couple of things that happened there. France, I think, held some territories that Germany wanted to take back, and Germany just wanted to attack everybody, as they did in World War II, basically. And so the Russians were allied with Serbia, and I think the Turks were allied with Germany, which is kind of a weird alliance there, but they were allied, and so the Turks played a part in this war as well. There was 4 invasions, basically, and the first one was really not well prepared and was really, pretty bad. The Austrians were not prepared for that, but they still invaded, and they thought it would be an easy victory. But they got really destroyed there in the first campaign. They got routed and had to get back to their lines, basically. And the second one campaigned also failed miserably. And I think, was it the second one that they captured Belgrade? I'm not sure. And then or maybe that was on the third invasion. And then the Serbians retook Belgrade and pushed the Austrians back. And then the fourth invasion, the Germans intervened, and the Turks, I think, and that's when they got sort of defeated and occupied. So look at this, Belgrade. Yeah, the fourth invasion there. So you have Belgrade here. For the first 5 days of the fourth invasion, the Germans and Austro-Hungarians conducted their precarious crossing of the Sava and Danube rivers. As the invasion commenced, the initial goals were to immediately capture Belgrade. Okay, so yeah, they must have lost it again in the third invasion there, I guess. Yeah, Belgrade. Here you go. Yeah, it's written above it there. When the Battle of Kolubara began, the Austrian-Hungarians were on the offensive, pushing the depleted Serbian army before them marching to victory. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, so these are the scenarios, man. This getting started was pretty fun and very frustrating to play because you're playing the Austrians, and oh man, they suck so bad, man. Oh, their morale is terrible. They get constantly disrupted, and it's a pain. But it's a pretty hard scenario, actually. The first one for this. All right, so let's have a look at some documentation there. So I mean, we could check out. I mean, the website probably most of you have already checked out. But there are two more titles in the series. There's France, which of course deals with the Western. This is what most people know about the First World War, the trench warfare and the stalemate, and that for years they've just, basically moved a couple of yards or kilometers here and there, and I mean it was pretty bad, and the massacre of millions of people, soldiers, these terrible conditions. And East Prussia is when the Russians attacked. I think first Germany told the. The Germans were busy in the West attacking France and fighting the English as well. The Britons allied with France. So they used the Schlieffen Plan, it was called. They were going to go through Belgium and then into France, basically. But the Belgians put up one hell of a fight. So that was tougher than they expected to pull that off. And so they were bogged down there. And then Britain declared war on Germany because they were pissed off that they were attacking neutral countries, basically. But the first part of the war was kind of a mobile war, actually. It was pretty fast moving, and there was some. That's a kind of an interesting aspect. So I'm really thinking of getting this title next. This would be fun to play because the beginning of the war was pretty fast paced, and then it got bogged into that trench warfare. And this would be very interesting as well because, as I said before, the Germans asked the Austro-Hungarians to deal with the Russians, but they were lousy. So they lost. They were losing versus the Russians. So the Germans sent a couple of divisions or brigade or army groups over there and sort of basically destroyed the Russians pretty badly there in the start. Lots of things been going on here. But let's get back to the Serbian one. I'm going to be covering the other games as well. Get my hands on those. So this was what I just talked about there. So the features is there's 28 scenarios. You have 4 campaigns, 4 grand campaigns. Now that's cool. I haven't checked that out, so that's going to be fun to see. The 4 campaigns. Yeah, so the Serb, they have a big map there. So that's cool. Some documentation that comes with the game. You have the almighty notes, which are very extensive. There's 190 pages of this. It's huge. Tells you a bit of a story here, and they go really deep into all the units. All the. Is there like a? No, it's not. Okay. They go about all the nations involved, basically, and how cavalry was. I mean, the evolution, supply. I mean, this is a really good. I haven't read all this yet. I've read parts of it, but I mean, wow, this takes time to go through. But so they have the different armies, the German army of 1915. So they have all these, and they sort of explain them in depth. The Bulgarian army, the Serbian army. There's loads here. The French army and Macedonian front. Yeah, it's all here. I think you can actually download this from Wargame Design Studio's webpage. So it's no real point for me to go through it all here. You can read it yourself. But they have some more multiplayer conclusion there, further gaming there, and the second part of this is actually in detail. And there's a lot more text in the notes about the scenarios than actually there is in the game itself. So the Balkan Expedition, the first invasion, if I would click that, okay, there's lots there. But I don't think it's all... There's more in here, basically. And it tells you a bit how to... So here it goes. The campaign works well as a team-based game of 4 allies versus 5 central opponents. This would be interesting to try out. I don't know how that actually works, but that would be fun to have like a team to play some of these campaigns. That would be really cool. Very time-consuming as well, but fun. Yeah, as you can see for this, the Emperor's Gift, for instance. Yeah, it's all. I mean, there's some small text here, and it says, "See the notes, document information on scenario design, decisions, and historical notes." Yeah, so there's more to it than just the text in here. You have to go through into the notes and read all this, man. Yeah, so they have quite a few scenarios here. I like that there's more documentation, because sometimes when you read here, you don't really get the whole picture of it. Yeah, so this goes on. All the scenarios, I guess. What's in the end here? Yeah, here we go. Here's something about that. Wow, there's so much stuff. Yeah, the Grand Campaign. Yeah, look at this. This is interesting. So they have these. I saw them in. What's this? Grand Campaign Scenario Progressing Tree. Okay. Wow. Okay. It's pretty complex. Grand Campaign Scenarios. The Grand Campaign Scenario S14A. So it tells you. I hope it tells you here basically how to play these. Yeah. Look at this. So they have them as, I think these are meant to be team played. So they're right at the end here. This scenario is part of the Grand Campaign series, which is a set of scenarios that are intended to be played in sequence, and the result of each deciding which scenario to play next, which eventually decides the outcome of the war. All Grand Campaign scenarios are intended to be played as head-to-head with another player, or a team game with a group of players. Refer to this game's notes or document for instructions regarding the Grand Campaign and how to proceed throughout the campaign based on the outcome of the scenario. Yeah. Cool. So they have that, which is badass. I mean, this is a real commitment for sure, but it'd be really fun to play it. Here's some gameplay tips: dealing with low and minimal supply situations, mountain warfare. So it's actually a lot. I think I would say this is a lot deeper than Panzer campaigns. It has a deeper feel to it and more things to consider actually. But there's a lot of similarities to the games when you actually just play them basically. What else? Yeah, the user manual is badass as usual. It's huge. But skimming through this, it's very similar to the Panzer campaigns actually, in the way you play. So there are going to be some differences, of course, but a lot of it is actually the same. There are some tweaks here and there for things that actually are important of the times, so to say. Yeah, and they have the this document here, the main program, explaining all the menus and stuff, and they actually have in here as well the optional rules, if I can find it. Here it is. Yeah, the optional rules is explained here, which is very important as well. Haven't really got into this, so I'm not sure what you should put on here for playing this, but I guess you will find what people are writing in forums and stuff. You can just ask around and see what people say to get the most historical accuracy out of it. But there's quite a few rules. Many of them actually remind you of the Panzer campaigns. Yeah, you can even have the manual fire. That would be... this would probably not... As I went over in my previous video there about the Renaissance, I mean, this manual defensive fire, the phased game would probably not really be that accurate for the First World War, because it would be more... It would be a light version of World War II, basically. So I would not play with phased combat in this, I think. And that's basically it there. Yeah, so let's fire something up. I could fire getting started up. Just going to use the default here. The default is what they recommend. So you can see the game graphics and sounds and stuff. Yeah, so they yeah, this is what it looks like here. They have different graphics for this than the past campaigns. I think they're using that famous what's it called? The map mods this guy made. So they got that going in this version, which is pretty good. I mean, I like the graphics here. It's different for sure. So this is the default zoom out there. One thing though, yeah, far zoom. If you notice, the 2D zoom in is not really high resolution, which is the standard now for many of the games from Wargame Design Studios. So they probably will update this because this is not high resolution graphics. You can tell it got some pixels in it and stuff. It's not as smooth as the graphics in the past campaigns, the latest updates there. Yeah, and you have the 3D view. It's not that bad. I think it looks pretty nice actually. But this is the thing about the games. Either you play like this, or I know there's a few players out there that actually prefer the 3D view. But I guess if you play with the 3D view from the start, this would probably it's probably just a learning curve or like a way of preference. If you get into it, it will make more sense, I guess. For me, it's I find it hard to identify the units for some reason. I don't know why. I find it easier to see the units like this. There might be some alternate things here. Let's see. Hex outlines, yeah, so you can have them on there. Yeah, they do have the new toolbar as well for these now, which is cool. And they have the background sound, which I really like, the sporadic firing and stuff. I don't think they have any other sound in this, like music and stuff. No, sound, yes. Oh, they have sound effects, movement, and background. So what would oh, sound effects, that's right, yeah, okay. Yeah, we want all that on, so yeah. Yeah, so what it looks like, I wonder if there's some alternate icons. There could be. That would be settings, I guess. Map contours, no. Alternate highlighting. Not sure what that is. Didn't see any. Maybe here? No, there's no real difference. 3D counters. What happens if I turn that off? Okay, yeah, look at that. They're very small. You can hardly see them. You can have 3D counters. Is that a max zoom in? Yeah, it is. All right. Yeah, no, the 3D counters, you can hardly see them, so I would probably not have them on. Graphical unit icons. Here we go. Okay, so they look like that. Okay. I don't know, man. No, not really. This is better. Yeah, they have the new speed, so you can speed up the AI and stuff, and replay and stuff. So that's cool. Yeah, so this is what it looks like, man. So Look at that. Okay. Oh, what did I? Oh, all right. That's right. I did. So we can see all the units here. Okay, it's the Allied powers that actually start off this fight. Okay. Yes, you do have cavalry. They're mostly for like recon and stuff, and to patrol. Because there are saboteurs and stuff working here to disrupt the Hungarians as they came in. So you have Yadar, Chetniks. Okay, so there's lots of different stuff that you need to read up to know what the hell it is. Artillery guns. These are cannons, so they're not. I don't think you can plot those guns. They're like for firing, direct fire, basically. Here are the machine guns. 40 attack power is soft. It's pretty badass. That's what it looks like, basically. Yeah. Maybe select one larger, like the first invasion here. Let's do that. No. And just do it like that. We can have a look at this. So this is a pretty big map. Look at this. It's massive. It's huge. So let's have a look at them. There's the jump map there. Yeah. It's pretty big. So this is where they attacked. Came in through here in the first invasion, and they were sort of stopped. It looks like there's some sort of action going on around Belgrade as well. All these units are fixed, though. Interesting. Yeah. This is where they attacked. They went through there, and here were the attack columns coming in. Looks like they already crossed here on their way in, and you have to build bridges, I guess, to get across here. You got some bridge engineers. You're gonna have to build pontoon bridges to get across in here and fight. So I think the getting started is actually some action around here. It's not this. This is the action right here. So the getting started is just covering this small portion of the battle here, basically. And you have to get across, build that bridge, and engage. As you can see, there are not that many Serbian units here. They're all back here, I think. So they're going to have to move up to counter the... here's an army back here. The 1st Drina Division. These guys are pretty badass, though. They got morale B and stuff, so... Pretty good army there. So I guess they're going to be moving up. I don't know much of the details of this actual operation here. I had to read up on it, but I guess they moved in to counter the advance there. We have some more armies over here. Yeah, 3 armies there. I wonder if they have anything arriving in this fight. Let's have a look. Scheduled? Yeah, shitloads coming in here. Allied powers. What's this? Cavalry division is coming in. Morava division. And the Timok division, right? There's another one there. Yeah, so they have some reinforcements coming in there. Yeah, so this is what it looks like, man. As I've said, I wish they would have made this high resolution, this 2D mode. Use the Panzer Campaign's graphics, man, or something like that. But otherwise, I like the graphics here. Pretty nice, though. I like this map mod. It's cool. Right, yeah, so I'm going to end it here, actually, and wrap it up. might do a battle from this game. Not sure yet. I'll have to check out the scenarios and do a let's play of it and get some gameplay going there. So yeah, we'll see what I pick there. So I want to thank you for watching, man. So this looks like a really interesting series. These first campaign, First World War. So do check it out. Maybe pick up your copy now during the sale. That would be great. Yeah, so I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.